On a road in Geneva, a rather unique monument stands tall, a chair with one broken leg, directly facing the headquarters of one of the world's leading international organizations on law and global cooperation, the United Nations. This chair with a broken leg symbolizes the devastating power of landmines, but it can also be seen as a symbol of the UN's current state. The organization's fundamental pillars are gradually being shaken. With a slight push, the entire system could collapse. Yet the UN wasn't always in this condition. Founded in 1945, the organization was created as a forum for all nations, aimed at promoting global peace. However, with conflicts continuing worldwide, many believe the UN urgently needs comprehensive reform to keep up with today's global challenges. Since its inception, the UN was envisioned as a place where countries would resolve disputes through diplomacy rather than violence. This approach not only carried moral significance, but also a practical advantage, reducing the cost and consequences of war. Secretary General Dag Hammarskjöld once said, "The UN was not created to bring us to heaven, but to save us from hell." Following the conferences in Moscow, Tehran, and Yalta, the Allied powers agreed to create an improved version of the League of Nations, the previous international organization that failed to prevent World War II. In 1945, with the participation of 50 countries at the San Francisco Conference, a new organization named the United Nations was born, with its goals and principles outlined in the UN Charter. This charter not only provides the foundation for the organization's operations, but also establishes a structure of 6 main bodies: the General Assembly, the Security Council, the International Court of Justice, the Secretariat, the Economic and Social Council, and the Trusteeship Council. The General Assembly, which brings together representatives from all member nations, operates on the principle of one country, one vote, regardless of its size, wealth, or influence. However, in practice, this process is heavily influenced by political lobbying and negotiations among nations. Despite the principle of equality, real consensus is often divided by conflicts of national interest. One of the most critical parts of the United Nations is the Security Council, with 15 members responsible for maintaining international peace and security. However, only 5 permanent members, the United States, Russia, China, France, and the United Kingdom, hold veto power. This allows any one of these members to block decisions or resolutions, regardless of consensus among other members. This veto power was initially seen as a way to ensure the participation of major powers in the organization, preventing a repeat of the League of Nations decline when countries withdrew due to their inability to protect core interests. However, this imbalance of power is now causing controversy as countries that were once influential are no longer in the same positions of prominence. Besides the Security Council, the United Nations also has the International Court of Justice, headquartered in The Hague, Netherlands, which serves as the main judicial body of the organization. This court is responsible for settling disputes between countries and providing legal advisory opinions to the General Assembly, Security Council, and other bodies. However, the court's enforceability is quite limited, as its rulings are often not fully respected by all parties involved. The Secretariat is the UN's main administrative body, responsible for managing and carrying out the organization's day-to-day operations. The Secretary General, currently Mr. Antonio Guterres from Portugal, is the highest representative of the United Nations. However, his real power is limited, as he cannot bypass the Security Council's veto power. As a result, the Secretary General often focuses more on economic and social development agendas than on political and security issues. In addition, the United Nations Economic and Social Council is responsible for international cooperation on economic and social issues. This council oversees dozens of specialized agencies, from the World Health Organization, WHO, and the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, to the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. Each of these specialized agencies operates independently, focusing on specific areas like health, education, science, culture, and the environment. These agencies play a crucial role in addressing global issues such as pandemics, poverty, and climate change. However, the unequal distribution of power within the Security Council has been a source of many conflicts. Over the past 7 decades, permanent members have used their veto power to protect national interests. For example, the U.S. has vetoed numerous resolutions related to Israel, Russia has blocked actions against Ukraine, and China has repeatedly prevented decisions related to Taiwan. This has led to deep divisions, rendering the Security Council ineffective in dealing with global conflicts. Numerous times, countries have bypassed UN authorization and pursued military campaigns on their own. In 2003, the U.S. invaded Iraq without the Security Council's approval, violating the UN Charter. More recently, Russia took military actions in Ukraine without UN consent. This situation has led many nations and international observers to believe that the United Nations is losing its ability to maintain world peace and order as it originally intended. Despite its flaws, the United Nations remains the only global organization where countries can exchange ideas and seek solutions for humanity's greatest challenges, such as climate change, pandemics, poverty, and migration crises. For many countries, particularly developing nations, the UN is one of the few platforms where their voices can be heard and reflected on the international stage. The UN's future remains uncertain, but unless it undergoes comprehensive reform, it may gradually lose its importance on the global stage. As regional alliances like NATO, the European Union, the African Union, and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization grow, the world is witnessing increasing polarization. While these organizations can address regional issues, they cannot easily replace the UN in handling global matters. In conclusion, the United Nations has faced and will continue to face numerous challenges. The achievements of this organization remain highly valuable, but without significant reform, the UN risks becoming outdated and ineffective. Despite its clear flaws, the organization still plays an irreplaceable role in maintaining world peace and stability. There is hope that through reform efforts, the United Nations will once again fulfill its original mission in today's world. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support us, and stay tuned for more engaging content.